Tony Kanaan, car number 11.
Vitor Meira, car number 17.
Sam Hornish Jr., car number 6.
Thomas Scheckter, car number 4.
Helio Castroneves, car number 3.
Townsend Bell, car number 2. Kosuke Matsuura, car number 55.
Dario Franchitti, car number 27. Brian Herta, number 7.
Adrian Fernandez, car number 5.
Alex Barron, car number 51.
Dan Weldon, car number 26.
Felipe Giafoni, car number 24.
AJ Foyt IV, car number 14. Scott Dixon, car number 1.
Ed Carpenter, car number 52.
Scott Sharp, car number 8.
Darren Manning, car number 10.
Jeff Simmons. Car number 12.
Front straightaway, of course, longer than the back straightaway by virtue of it being curved, and it's the bank again. Front straightaway is 10.4 degrees. The turns are 15.
17 of Vito Mira, who just secured that ride for the rest of.
Oh, we got a crash back in the back
already. Before the green flag comes out, Scott Sharp is involved. And was that Takagi?
I believe.
As you're riding along with Scott Sharp, already out of the race, then the green never came out.
Wow, what a tough break for Scott Sharp. Probably got on the gas too hard, lost the back end. He went up the racetrack right in front of, I believe it was Takagi. I didn't get a good look at him. Franchitti, yeah, there's Takagi. He's going around the racetrack. He was the other car involved in that. So
Foyt slows.
Yep, he was just on the throttle. He moved down a little bit, and the wheel spun, and he moved up there. Oh, Takagi hit him a lot harder than I thought he did. He's going to have to replace the nose on that car, and he may be out. Now watch him. He's on the throttle real hard. He makes a slight move to the inside, and when he shifted gears, moved down, and those two things happening exactly the same time on cold tires. Not something you would expect from a veteran, but it does happen once in a while.
The Delphi team, we're looking forward to a top 10 result today.
A tough and very frustrated beginning for Scott Sharp. They're going to try to talk it over, maybe try to get this car repaired and get the Delphi machine back out, but heavy damage here on the drop of the green flag.
As they unfurl the green flag, and here they come. Mira goes to work right away on the high side.
We've already
3 wide back in the pack.
Yeah, somebody back there didn't get a very good start. Somebody else almost got tagged back there. As either they did on. It could have been. I don't know, but somebody didn't.
Going to lead this lap.
Yeah, he got a great start, but boy, that back there in the back, somebody just did not get a good start. In the wrong gear, probably.
Wow, look at Kanaan pull away from the 15 of Rice and the 17 of Vito Mira.
Mira looked to the outside, looked like he is going to do it again. He's going to get out there, see if he can get going. Buddy Rice, I don't know what's exactly going on there, but you wouldn't think those guys would be pulling to the outside and going around him quite that quickly.
So Vito Mira, who was moved up a position last week on that last lap snafu, is back up to second position by a nose over Rice. A good side-by-side battle back there for fourth position.
Well, that's what we were talking about, side-by-side racing on this banking. Mira, although he looked to be quicker, once he got on the outside, just couldn't make that pass. And Scheckter has been on the outside there for quite a while on the outside of Hornish, just trying to get around him. But so far, remember, these two guys ran into each other in the last race, and there's not much love lost here. He's staying a good ways away this time. He doesn't want to be the...
I don't think you'll find those two guys having dinner together this evening in Kansas City.
No, there was a little hard feeling there, one towards the other, but Scheckter...
After Scheckter got Hornish 4 laps back, Hornish was up racing with the leaders and actually got his hand slapped this week by Brian Barnhart for not getting out of the way because he's 4 laps off the pace.
That's right. He was warned that he should not be racing that hard because he was 4 laps down, Hornish did not heed the warnings, and so he had a little talk with him after the racing and told him that, you know, if you're 4 laps down, you've got to get out of the way. You've got to let those guys race for the win, and we'll see what happens.
And did you notice that now Rice is starting to close in on Kanaan as we watch Townsend Bell back there in the number 2 car? And look at this.
Well,
here's a look at Dan Weldon. Weldon is up to 11th position. Did not qualify all that well yesterday.
Well, we had a very good start there initially. We're going to take a look at it and see what happens. See,
look at Weldon.
He's down on the inside. Look at that. Clear under the white. Oh, he almost spun that baby. Down on the inside. He got on that white line. There's also a change in banking down there. And man, oh man, very, very risky.
He was warned on his radio by Brian Barnhart about that start.
Well,
here he comes on the high side of Townsend Bell.
He was warned not to get below the white line. And as you can see, once you touch that white line with your left side tires, it's very slick. That paint is extremely slick. And he got down in there, and he not only got it on the white line, he got clear under it. Down there's a change in banking, and that's why he got so far sideways.
Masura going around Castro-Neves for the 6th position. Right now, Honda has the top 3 spots with Kanaan, Rice, and Mira. Schechter with a Chevrolet is 4th. 5th is Hornish with Toyota. Then Matsura with a Honda. Castro-Neves with Toyota.
Yeah, it looks like Fernandez now, right? Fernandez. He's going to go after Castro-Neves. He looks, oh, Castro-Neves started pushing the front end just as Fernandez looked to the outside. That's Dan Weldon right behind Fernandez. Fernandez in the green car, Weldon in the white car.
And Townsend Bell in the blue car.
Well, Townsend Bell has fallen back quite a ways from his starting position.
But again, Townsend has not tested this car. He's not had a test program with this team. He kind of jumped in cold this week. So right now, this is an R&D program for him.
Right. You can see that he hasn't fallen back near as much as some of the other guys. Frank Katie's lost 4 spots too. So some of the guys moving backwards, others moving forward.
Up in front, it's a parade. A 4th of July parade. The top 4 are running nose to tail. So what had been a big gap between 1st and 2nd has closed down. Buddy Rice rides in 2nd position. Mira is 3rd. Now you're right along in 4th position with Thomas Schechter.
Oh, he pushes the front end up. He lost the front end, got out of the air, took the air off the front wing, moved up. He had to get out of the throttle a little bit. He might get past.
Here comes Hornish right behind him.
Yep. Hornish making a move on him right there. As you can see, he was right behind him. Now he's back 6 or 7 car lengths.
When he pushed the front end, he lost the momentum, and Hornish was coming, but tucks in behind him now as they scramble for position heading into the corner in the 15-degree banking.
You see Vitor Mira, he's not running right behind Buddy Rice. He's running about a half car width up. That's so that he can keep the air on those front wings.
Let's look at Bobby Ray Hall and A.J. Foyt talking to their drivers from the pit lane. And Matsura, as we've been watching that group back there in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. That is Matsura to the left of your screen. In the blue and red car, the Marlboro car, is Castro-Neves. And there is Adrian Fernandez, who is currently in 8th position after starting back in 11th. And again, this is the first time for him to be here. He is the oldest driver in the starting field with the retirement of Al Unser at the age of 42. Yeah. That's not exactly the accolade that you want as a race driver, is it?
No, it isn't. But he's he's quite well known in his home country, Mexico. He's very well respected for his driving ability and for his business endeavors down there too.
There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk that next season there could be a race or 2 in Mexico.
Well, that's what they're saying. It might be. And you saw Castro-Neves right there. Looked like he got a little bit loose coming off that corner. I think his car is very, very loose. It's the reason he's fallen back just a little bit. He's back in 7th spot now. But you can see he's running high on the racetrack. Runs up there, he still gets some air on the car. If he runs right behind Matsura, then he gets no air on his front wings and doesn't keep the car glued to the racetrack quite as well. Right there, he looked like he was a little loose again as that thing wiggled a little bit just coming off the corner.
Well, you ride off the rear wing of the 2nd position car of Rice, looking back at the number 17 of Vitor Mira, back to number 4 of Schechter, and behind Schechter is Sam Hornish in the number 6 Marlboro Penske entry.
The aerodynamics on these cars, again, they have 400 pounds less downforce now than they've ever had. they don't drive. They're not really as nice to drive as far as the driver's concerned. They're much twitchier. They want to slide around a lot more. That's the reason you see these guys, they don't follow each other right in the corner. You can see Mira's up, Schechter's down. They try to find a place in there where they can still get some air across those wings.
To plant that front.
Plant the front end, to get the downforce on the cars, help stabilize the cars.
Coming into this race, Tony Kanaan had led 364 laps from 3 races. This is his 4th race to lead, and he took the lead on lap 7 from Buddy Rice.
Yeah, see, Buddy Rice caught him going down the straightaway. Couldn't get outside of him, so he had to fall back a little bit. Mira doing the same thing. He's right on their tail, but can't find a way or a place to try to get around it. Oh, look at Schechter again, running pretty high off that corner.
Schechter back in 4th position.
Yeah, he's
hitting the rev limiter there.
Yeah.
Back up in front, and a car length or so between 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, Buddy Rice tried. He moved to the outside, going down the front straightaway, but just didn't have the oomph to get on by him.
On board with Townsend Bell, back in 10th position. The speed and the throttle.
You can see him shifting gears. That these engines, since they're smaller, they do have to shift gears. That circle down there, that was for the lateral G's. You can see that going through these corners up to 3.9
almost
G's, and almost 4 G's in the corners. So they are pulling some lateral G's, and your neck gets pretty tired after a couple hours of that, let me tell you.
And on that shot, you saw the entire field now has bunched up, running single file, but at one point there was a gap between 5th and 6th. That is not the case now. And now there's about 2 seconds separating the top 10 on the racetrack after 29 circuits. Tony Kanaan, Buddy Rice, Vito Mira, Thomas Schechter, and Sam Hornish, but they're all closed up behind them. So we have us a parade here, nose to tail, just what we'd anticipated. Finally, it looks like Weldon has gotten around Fernandez. So Weldon moves to 8th.
He's been trying to make that move now for the last probably the last 15 laps.
And look at him closing him at Matsura.
Wow, once he kind of found that spot out there, looks like he's
found his sweet spot out there.
He must have found another gear in that baby, because all of a sudden he's seems to be going a lot faster than he had been for the last 10 laps or so. Man, he really got a boost when he went around.
Well, last lap, Thomas Schechter was the fastest driver on the racetrack, back there in 4th position. Now Weldon caught Matsura, but now having trouble getting by on the high side. They're running side by side.
Yeah, you get that little bit of a draft when you're running behind him now, then you don't get it. But he goes on by going down that back straightaway.
So he has picked up 2 positions in about 3 laps and sets sail for Castro-Neves now. And Elio is in 6th position. And there goes Fernandez.
Yeah, Matsura, obviously the handling going away on that car, because he's slowed down quite a bit. These cars are running about 206, 207 miles an hour. Last year they ran 218 miles an hour.
Well, let's see what Weldon can do now with Castro-Neves as he pulled up behind him for that battle for 6th position. Live coverage from Kansas with Kanaan. Schechter has gone to 2nd position. As we told you a couple laps ago, he was the fastest driver on the racetrack, and now he is up to 2nd as he's gotten around Rice and Mira. So Rice drops to 3rd, Mira drops to 4th, 5th is Hornish, 6th is Weldon.
Wow, see, sometimes it just takes for the guy in front of you to make a slight mistake, and it looks like Buddy Rice must have got just a little loose or did something, had to climb out of the throttle, and when he did, he let Schechter get around.
Here comes Mira on the high side. Good battle for 2nd to make that 3rd position.
Now Mira's moved out there, but can't pull it off.
Look at Weldon. Weldon just went around Hornish.
Wow, all of a sudden, I don't know what's happened here in the last 3 laps.
He turned the wick up, didn't he?
Yeah, he turned the wick up and passed 3 cars in 3 laps. And he just moved right up the racetrack and where nobody else was running. And it looks like, looks like all of a sudden an extra 20 horsepower. But we know there's no turbochargers on these things, so they can't do that.
Well, he's found a groove that he likes and some fresh air that the car likes. Well, Schechter right now trying to be the 3rd leader of the afternoon. Rice led the first 6 circuits. Then Kanaan took over on lap 7. And now they're working on lap 37.
Yeah, once again, you notice as they go through the corner, they're kind of staggered. They're not one right behind the other. One on the bottom, one on the top, one on the bottom, one on the top. Now then, we'll see if Buddy Rice can get around Schechter on the bottom.
Well, Buddy stays down low, but cannot make the pass as they come off the corner down the back straightaway. That 5-degree banking on the back straightaway into 15-degree banking in the corners.
While you were away, Townsend Belair made an unscheduled pit stop. It's dropped him back to 19th. Okay, let's rejoin the commentary live now.
Manning's been in. He's had some trouble, though. Uh-oh, the fuel.
That pulled over the big tank as well.
They did not get the fuel done. They waved him on, and the fuel got stuck. The hose got stuck.
Now, crew members are jumping over the wall. They're only allowed so many crew members.
Yeah, but I think right now they're just worried about that fuel spilling. Luckily, it did not spill out of there. And luckily, that fueler did not get run over. His right arm was very close to that left rear wheel. And luckily, Dan Weldon, they motioned for him to stop just in time. And he got that thing stopped. And they're having a look.
Trying to upright that fuel rig.
Yeah, it's full of fuel. Remember, this is the first pit stop, so there's still lots and lots of fuel in that thing. As everybody else, there's Vitor Mira coming in for a pit stop.
And there's Castroneves.
See, the driver relies on that guy on the right front corner. When he says go, they take off. And the driver in the right front corner, he looks for the fueler to jerk on the hose. As soon as he jerks, he motions for him to go. What happened there was he jerked and it didn't come out. We're going to see a replay here in a few minutes probably, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. The right front, the guy who changes the right front tire, he's the guy responsible for sending the driver out of the pit area. See, now watch him jerk. See, when he jerks, as soon as he jerks, they start motioning him to go. And if it gets stuck and he has to jerk twice, well, that's the result.
Well, Kanaan came in, which gave the lead to this driver here, Rice. Now Rice will relinquish the lead. He led for one lap.
Well, green flag pit stops are it's very, very important. You've got to get in, you've got to get out quickly, because you know, 1 second in here can be you know, 100 yards or
100 yards
on the racetrack can be a huge amount. Herta beat Rice out.
Just beat him out.
So that means that Brian Herta's team was quicker than Buddy Rice's team in the pit area that time. So Brian Herta, Team Green, once again having a great stop and got his guys back out. Here comes Vitor Mira. These guys are trying to blend in.
There's Darren Manning.
So everybody's just about. We've only got 1 or 2 cars. Franchitti, remember, he made a late stop, so he's still on the racetrack.
We're showing Kanaan back in the lead.
In-car camera. Uh-oh, something's wrong. They killed the engine. Killed the engine, couldn't get the engine. They had to bring it out and refire it to get it going again. We had that shot from on board. So.
Well, just a few moments ago, Larry, it was very scary. Here is the replay of the Weldon incident. Now watch.
Oh no, that was the right front. That was the guy on the right front. That was his fault. That was not Dan Weldon's fault. He never looked up. He adjusted the wing and told him to go, and the fuelers were not done. The guy on the right front made a huge mistake right there, because he didn't even look back. He adjusted the wing, assumed that they were done fueling, and told him to go, and they weren't ready. They didn't even try to pull that fuel line out.
Well, Weldon now finds himself back in 13th position on the race course, and of course he began this race in 13th and worked his way up to the top 5, so he has a long way to go. A lot of work this afternoon now.
Well, it's not only that he's in 13th position, but he's like 13 seconds back, so he's a half a lap behind everybody else. That's the real big disadvantage. Watch this guy on the right front. He adjusts the wing and he says go. He never even looked up. He never even looked up. Those guys they weren't finished yet. There was no way that was anybody's fault but the guy on the right front corner.
He made the motion.
He made the motion without even looking. That was a huge mistake on his part.
You know, so often, Larry, and I think people think that we overstate the fact that you can win or lose a race in the pit area.
Wow.
This race could have been lost right there.
Exactly. And it could have resulted in much worse. If that fuel had spilled out of that tank and there had been a fire,
or he had driven over.
Yeah, or he had driven over that the left rear or the fuel man's arm, broken his arm, it could have been much, much worse. Look at this.
There's a battle up in front. This is for the lead on lap 64.
Vito Mira's looking extremely strong. You can see why Ray Hall Letterman has signed this guy to a contract for the rest of the year.
Looking to lead.
Now these guys are pretty much flat out here. They're shifting gears, but they're flat out. They're not lifting going into the corners. And it's just a matter of centrifugal force. Mira trying to stay as close as he can to him, make that track as short as he can to get that little bit of a run that'll give him an advantage.
Well, Mira trying to lead for the first time this season. He was given credit for leading that lap. That was lap 65.
Well, he did it. He's done a nice job. He's hanging right in there. Now that he might actually go ahead and make the pass this time if he's got any kind of a run off that corner at all. It's shorter around on the inside, but you don't have to bind the car up. You should get more RPMs and a little bit more speed on the outside. That's
the whole momentum up.
Well, keep your momentum up more, because you have to pinch the car, we call it. You have to turn the car down coming off the corner, which cuts the RPMs very, very slightly. But you can see right there, he ran up there for 2 laps, just couldn't do it, and Kanaan goes ahead and pulls away.
Kanaan will take the lead now in lap 67.
We talked about
working on those 3 bonus points for leading the most laps.
And we talked about Herta having that great stop. It vaulted him up into 3rd place in front of Rice and Scheckter both. So that was a great pit stop. And Scheckter once again battling with Rice.
So look at Fernandez up to 6th position there in that green and white car.
Yeah, he too had a great pit stop that helped him a lot. Castroneves and Hornish now back in 7th and 8th spots.
So he's learning really on-the-job training for the veteran.
Well, that's exactly right. Vito Mira still stalking him. It looks like he's a little quicker on the bottom groove, but once he moves up to that top groove, he just cannot quite.
Well, it's one thing to catch in the little groove, but you got to go someplace else to pass
That's right. That's exactly the whole point. Exactly the whole point.
Well, there's Scheckter now riding in 5th position.
Well, Scheckter has had a good race so far.
Well, Tony Kanaan continues to lead Mira, Herta, Rice, and Scheckter with 68 of 200 scheduled laps completed here at Kansas. We've had 3 different leaders today. Rice led the first 6 laps. Then Kanaan took over. Vito Mira had 2 laps that he led, 65 and 66, before Kanaan got back around. So 3 bonus points going to the leader of the most laps, and you have the 2 Penske cars running together on the racetrack in 7th and 8th. Castroneves, Hornish. Hornish, as you said earlier, not the factor we thought he might be this afternoon.
No. The highest running Toyota right now is Castroneves. He and Hornish running in 7th and 8th spots. So I think the Toyotas have some issues with the horsepower still, that they're not running as good as they had hoped they would at this point.
Well, they have a Honda right behind him with Franchitti.
Remember, Franchitti started dead last. He stayed out, made his pit stop a little later.
From Franchitti's onboard. Actually, it's inside the helmet. Yeah,
you can get a good idea of what it looks like from his perspective right there. And you know, you see those guys. What do you do right there when they got them side by side? Which guy do you choose to follow? That's his choice, and he stayed to the bottom of the racetrack.
It depends on where your car works the best.
Exactly.
Now he ducks to the inside. He's going to make a pass.
Wow.
Made that look easy.
Sure
Went by
did.
Hornish for position.
Not sure what happened to Hornish, but man.
8th position. Now he takes a look at the inside of Castroneves. A good battle for position with our live coverage, and that is Franchitti, who has just gotten around both the Penske cars. And Franchitti has now moved to 7th spot in that blue and white number 27, and now Hornish looks to the inside of his teammate.
Wow. Andretti Green just between them and Letterman.
Hondas just went on by.
The Honda's really looking strong here as we take a look from inside Dario Franchitti's helmet. And you can see what he can see. You can see it's a little dirty. You got a few little smudges on there from bugs or moisture or oil or something from some of the other cars. So that's one of the things the driver has to put up with. It's not like like you might think. It does get a little
Look at the
bad
light.
vision.
Is this light part of the RPMs here?
Yeah, they're getting
the RPMs go up. You see the red lights come on.
Right. Telling him he's getting close to the rev limiter.
But he went by both those Penske cars. And then Matsura back there in the 10th position.
There goes Mira. And here comes Mira now as he made the pass on Tony Kanaan. We were watching that battle farther back in the field. That time he got to the outside of Kanaan. Kanaan had lifted just slightly coming off the corner, and Mira just went on by him. And now that he's passed him, he's pulled out to quite a good lead, actually.
Jeff Simmons about to be lapped. He's back in the 16th position as Mira goes on by. The second time he has led this evening. Or we should say this afternoon. We're so used to those night races. Now we're back in the afternoon.
Well,
the race actually started a couple of hours earlier this year because of all the heat and humidity that we've suffered through the last couple of years here.
Wow, Vito Mira is just he's just walking away now that he's gotten out in the lead. He's got 0.6 of a second lead over Kanaan right now, so he's really turned up the wick. He's really running well right now.
First time he has led this season.
From Brazil, one of the many Brazilian drivers. And if you remember, he's ran for John Menard for a few races last year, got the call. Everybody was kind of surprised. Not very many people in the IRL had heard from him, but proved right away that he was a pretty strong contender.
Well, it was just a week ago he finished second. Actually, at the finish, he was third, but then recounting what had happened the last couple of laps, he was moved back up to second position. So his best finish was just a week ago, and right now he leads. First race he has led in his 3-season IRL career.
Right, and until a week ago, he was just on a race-to-race basis. They had not hired him. They secured the sponsorship for the rest of the year, and when they did that, they for Centrex sponsorship, then they went ahead and signed him for a contract for the rest of the year.
Yes, Larry, his last lap was faster than he qualified.
Wow. Well,
how often do you see that?
He is very happy with that race car.
On lap 80, he's running faster than he qualified yesterday.
Wow. Well,
way up. In fact, 2 miles an hour faster than he qualified yesterday.
Well, a lot of what happens during these races is getting the right tire adjustments and the right handling adjustments all at the same time. He's coming up on young A.J. Foyt. And while he's lapping A.J. Foyt, I know that doesn't look very good, but that young man's done a heck of a job the last couple of races. We kind of bad-mouthed him a little bit last year, said he wasn't ready, but finally I think he's gotten to the point in this race car where he feels comfortable, and they're getting the car to run better for him, and he's run pretty good the last couple of times out.
I don't think we questioned him. I think we questioned A.J. as granddad for putting him in, not thinking he was.
Well, that's what I mean. Not
showing great progress over the past few races.
Yeah, he just wasn't ready. Not that he wasn't a good race car driver, just wasn't ready to progress to this level of the sport at the age he was at. Now you see Fernandez started 5th now, or started 11th, now up to 5th, and he's been pretty strong. He hasn't been spectacular. He hasn't been blowing people away left and right, but he has been very steady all race long.
But that is characteristic of his driving style. I mean, yes. Adrian has never, ever been spectacular. He's been very, very consistent.
Never been flashy, and you know, one of the things about winning races is you don't have to be flashy. You have to be around and at the right place at the right time.
Schechter back in 4th position. Looking back at Fernandez, the gap from 4th to 5th. Almost a complete turn as he goes by Giafoni in the Purex number 24 car. That's a car that's owned in part by Robbie Buell, who stepped out of this ride before Indy, and we speculated it was because of the handling characteristic, not as easy to drive as they were last year. Yeah, so he says he's not retired, though. He's just retired from IndyCar driving.
Right.
He's going to do some sports car racing.
Right. He still wants to do some sports car racing, but the IndyCar stuff, he's going to live to Giafoni.
Once again, you look at Fernandez now start to close in as he goes by Giafoni on the inside. Boy, he's closed down that gap on Schechter.
Yes, he has.
They have a battle for 4th position building up here as they go by the number 20 of Jeff Simmons.
And Jeff Simmons, another young guy. It's never only race he's run in the IRL is the Indianapolis 500. So far, he's run pretty well here, kept himself out of trouble, and that's the main thing. That's what he wants to do: get some laps, get the feel of these cars on these kinds of racetracks, and
but you have to wonder, Larry, if a veteran like Al Sr. or Al Jr. could not get that car to perform. It's a tough assignment for a rookie.
Well, it is a tough assignment. It's going to take them a few races to get the race car the way he likes it. You know, he's not going to come in there and just go out and start winning races right away. But I think at Indianapolis, the way he ran, the cars that he passed, I think he proved that he can be competitive in this arena.
Looks like Fernandez may have something for these boys up in front, because he closed down that big gap. It was a full turn from the position of now. Trying to find a way to get around the number 4 Pennzoil car.
Dan Weldon has moved up to 11th after all that big brouhaha in the pit area. He has not moved back through the field quite as quickly as he did the first time, but he has moved. Fernandez got pretty close to the back end of Scheckter right there.
Tries that high line through the corner up on the 15-degree banking as we're working on lap number 89. It's a 200-lap event.
Well, there's a hand motion right there. I'm not sure what that's all about, but Fernandez is...
not that Scheckter saw it.
No, I don't think Scheckter did see it, but he was motioning something at him. Probably not the friendliest of gestures. I know most race car drivers.
Would you like to have dinner later?
Yeah, it's not usually something you do when you're saying thanks a lot.
Yeah, when you're taking your hand off the steering wheel unless the race is over and you're waving at the winner.
Exactly. So whatever he was doing there was probably not.
We're still side by side on lap 90 of this 200-lap event, so we're nearing the halfway point.
Well, Scheckter just keeps hanging in there and making a tough one. Fernandez.
He has the short way around, but we talked about that a few laps back, that Fernandez can free his car up and keep the momentum up on the high side.
Well, Scheckter is the only non-Honda in the top 7 right now. He's running in 4th. Every other, right there, they got very close to each other.
This is an accident looking for a place to happen right here.
Yeah. Wow.
Now this is at 206 miles an hour.
Yeah, these guys running pretty close to each other. Fernandez actually giving him quite a bit of room right there.
And now he motioned to go on. He motioned for Fernandez to go on. Did you see that?
Yeah, he said, I've had enough of it. I think his car was loose. He moved up the racetrack a couple of times.
So a nice show of sportsmanship by Thomas Scheckter back there in 4th position. Go back in front of the pack. Vito Mira has opened up a 3.5-second lead over Buddy Rice. Kanan has now fallen to 3rd position. So Kanan may be waiting for a pit stop to make some type of adjustment to that chassis.
Yeah, I think he is. 13 cars still on the lead lap. Carpenter, Foyt, Simmons, Giafone, and Manning all 1 lap down.
And there's Foyt right in the middle of that mix.
Yeah, he's...
and Weldon back in. This will be somewhat unscheduled.
Well, he probably didn't get a full load of fuel. All that mix-up on the last pit stop. He's probably got to come in early. You can see the guy in the right front. He's going to make sure the fuel's out there this time. He's going to make sure the hose is out before he motions anybody to go, because he knows he screwed up the last time. That was a bad mistake on his part.
Now Kanan has gotten back around Rice. At one time the Letterman Rahal drivers were running 1-2. And there's a good battle back there for position. Now Rice has gotten back around Kanan.
Yeah, those guys been battling back and forth.
Foyt's up in that mix, but Foyt's a lap off the pace.
Well, that's part of the
white car.
Yeah, see, that's part of the problem right there. Because the lap traffic is in front of them.
Foyt and Carpenter riding side by side, and they're a lap off the pace.
Right.
They're battling for their own position, because that is 13th and 14th in the racetrack, but that's holding up the battle for 2nd.
You can see that graphic a while ago that Vito Mira had 9 of the fastest 12 laps so far in this race.
Back on board with Scott Dixon. Dixon not having a very good ride here this afternoon, back in the 11th position. You look at the speed, you look at the percent of throttle, and the lateral G load. Now watch him load up in the corner.
Yeah.
Up to 3.9, 4.3.
Momentarily over 4, but yeah, it's about a 4.0 G-force, which means your body weight is 4 times natural gravity. So it's a very, very hard pull to the right as you're going through that corner.
You realize with all those guys battling behind those lap cars that Vito Mira has now opened up a 5.5-second lead over his teammate Buddy Rice.
Well, you know, that'll all be erased if there's another yellow. If not, then he's looking pretty good. Those guys, it does seem that Rice and Kanaan are having a lot more trouble back there with the lap traffic. And that being because they caught the lap traffic when they were running side by side. And there's not much you can do. This racetrack is 2 cars wide, but it's not 3 cars wide.
There's a laps led. Kanaan was 64 so far, and Mira with 31. But at the rate Mira's going, he'll. Well, here comes AJ for a routine pit stop.
Yeah, they're coming in a little earlier than we had thought. About 45 laps or so.
2 cars now right in front of us. Well, that's 1 car in front of second place. The pit stop should be coming up momentarily, Larry.
Yeah.
That is Weldon right in front of Rice.
Now he's just made his pit stop, so he's back on the racetrack.
Weldon's 2 laps off the pace.
Yeah, he's made his pit stop. He'll get one of those laps back, and maybe both of them.
Airline, the air hose coming off of AJ's car. He'll be coming back in.
Yeah.
This could be a stop and go penalty.
And once again, that's a miscommunications. They told him to go before they had everything disconnected. And sometimes stuff like that will happen, especially, you know, like I said earlier, if you jerk on that and the guy who's motioning for the car to leave, you know, he expects it to come off. He sees the motion. He expects that thing to come disconnected. When it doesn't become disconnected, then this is the result.
Well, now race control is saying that the 14 car will get a 10-second penalty.
Well, he'll have
plenty of time to take it off.
Yeah, he'll have plenty of time to take that thing off. They'll recheck the. And there's the air hose.
They're counting out the 10 seconds.
Yeah, you can see him.
He better jump out of the way, that official.
Now they're doing something. Oh, they're trying to clean out the air hose thing. It doesn't look like next time he'll be able to. There was a piece of the air hose still stuck on the connection. They were trying to get all of that off of there so that the next time they came in, they could have a clean pit stop.
Well, Mira making a pit stop, and that will put Rice in the lead.
Well, let's see if they can do this. We've seen a couple of mistakes here in the pit area so far. Uh-oh, he killed the engine.
There's Kanaan in right behind him, and Kanaan gets out. A costly stop for Mira.
Yep, that's not a good thing. He held up. What happened was they told him to hold. He thought they were going to go, and they stopped him because they weren't finished with the fuel. So he kind of double clutched it. Uh-oh.
Schechter must be out of fuel.
Wow.
Schechter has waited 1 lap too long. And this will take him out of contention for any good finish here this afternoon.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. As here comes Buddy Rice in the pit area.
And that will give the lead to Castor Nevitz. Hornish actually has the lead now. Hornish is being shown as our 4th different leader of the day. On lap 109, so over halfway now. Now let's see how smooth this pit stop is by Ray Hall Letterman.
It's going to be the team who pits and doesn't make a mistake. It's going to win this race. Well,
Good stop.
Rice did his job right there. Mira might have caused himself problems by killing the engine. We've seen 2 or 3 miscues in the pit area. That was not one of them. That was almost perfect.
Well, here was a miscue on the racetrack by leaving him out 1 lap too many.
Well, we'll see.
Trying to restart the engine. Maybe there's more of a problem than just
that's what I'm wondering, if it is out of fuel for something else. They're telling him, you know.
Well, the activity continues here. The Pennzoil crew, and now he's away, or is he away? No. Schechter killed it.
Well, they were telling him to pump the throttle. They were telling him, asking him if he was doing something because it wouldn't restart. Meanwhile, Schechter.
Hornish comes in.
Schechter gets back on the racetrack. That was a huge mistake. Another miscue, as you said, by the pit crew people. They have to tell him when to come in. There's no fuel gauges on these things. There's no way. There's a red light that'll come on some of them, but there's no way they know how much fuel's left. They completely rely on the pit crews to tell them when to come in and pit.
Well, and you see the fuel flash by the number 6 of Hornish, who led for a couple of laps on this cycling through in the pit work as Kanaan reassumes the top spot over Rice and Herta. So Herta has all of a sudden put himself up in 3rd position with Franchitti back in 4th. Mira back in 5th position, but he's some 7 seconds behind the leader.
Down, he's off the pace.
15th position, 2 laps off the pace.
As Kanaan has just put him another lap down, and here comes Buddy Rice.
You have to wonder what has happened to that Target Ganassi team this season.
They really,
I think it's just a mirror of itself from last year.
Yeah, the horsepower has something to do with it, but still, I mean, that's not all of it. They're still not running even close to as good as the Penske team.
Oh, look at this, 3 wide. Look at Hernandez. Oh, almost contact. Fernandez almost got the left front taken off.
Yeah, that's never going to work here at this racetrack. We've seen it happen a couple of times. We've seen Sam Hornish pull it off once, but 3 wide just does not happen very often in this kind of a racetrack. That's a lap car. I believe that's the car of Alex Barron right in front of him.
Here comes Franchitti.
And look at this. Buddy Rice has pulled back into the lead. He's gotten around Kanaan while they were dealing with the lap traffic. So
3rd time this afternoon that Buddy Rice has led.
Buddy Rice took advantage of some lap traffic, got back around Tony Kanaan.
There's a look at the number 24 of Felipe Giafoni. Comes from a very actual famous racing family in Brazil.
Yeah, quite well known down in that.
Giafoni is like the well, there's his spotter, and that's Robbie Buell.
A lot of former race car drivers as spotters. We've talked about Robbie Buell for Giafoni, Al Unser for Simmons, Tom Sneva now with Townsend Bell, Pancho Carter with Thomas Schechter. So a lot of former drivers now making a living by helping out new and upcoming stars.
I would say the Giafoni name is kind of like the Unser name in this country.
Right.
And again, Franchitti looks to the inside of Fernandez. This is the battle for 5th position.
Trying to make something happen there. Now he's Fernandez has stayed to the outside. I'm a little bit surprised because usually it's not quite as quick around out there, but he stayed out there pretty much the whole time. And Franchitti looks like now he has made the pass.
Oh, Franchitti's able to keep his car right down that white line.
Yeah, and that's the whole key. If you can keep your car down on the white side, or on the white line, and still have it handle well. A lot of guys get down there, and the car wants to get loose on them down on the inside. But it's a little freer when you run up at the top of the racetrack. But right now, Franchitti doing a nice job right around the bottom.
Lap 128.
Oh boy!
Tucked in behind Alex Barron.
Right there, been real easy to make some contact. Buddy Rice right now pulled that into 6 or 8 car lengths lead.
You're missing nothing really on the racetrack, because this is the best battle we have going right now.
Yeah, these 2 guys have been going at pretty much like this for the last 10 laps. For a while, Franchitti will lead, and then Fernandez will get back around him. It looks like Fernandez, when he gets up there having to deal with the lap car, he just can't quite do it. Now, as I say that, he gets kind of a run on him this time, so maybe he will pull it off.
Well, race control could be calling. Oh, that's Carpenter.
Yeah,
52.
that's Carpenter. We said
those cars are painted up just alike, the 51 and 52. Race control could call Carpenter and say, get out of the way. Let him go. So up in front, Rice continues to lead over Kanaan and Mira back in 3rd position on lap 131 of 200.
Our leaders, so they're a good quarter lap behind the leaders of the race.
Right now, Mira once again was the fastest that last lap. So we saw that information earlier that he had been the fastest on 9 of the 12 quickest laps of the day.
Well, we've had
a costly pit stop.
Right, we've had a very clean race right now, but I think I think Mira would love to see a yellow flag so he can get back up there and battle with those guys. He's catching them, but he's catching them ever so slowly.
Well, he's only 3.2 seconds back. At one point, after that costly pit stop, he was more than 7 seconds back. So he's trimmed more than twice or half of that lead away.
He's very quick. He's still the quickest car on the racetrack. He's just got far behind. If it does not, if they do run these last 70 laps or 63 laps under the green, then we'll see if he can catch him or not. But they will all have to make one more pit stop.
Well, that would be a story. If we ran the rest of the way green, the only yellow came on the at the green flag.
Ran 195 laps under the green. Whatever it was, I don't remember exactly what lap the green came out on, but not a yellow flag. That would be pretty amazing.
Well, Rice right now enjoying a half-second lead over Kanaan. Mira is 3 seconds back, but he is the fastest on the racetrack. Consistently, lap after lap, the fastest.
That's Fernandez, Herta in the yellow car, and of course Franchitti in the blue car. Those 3 cars racing for position, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And those 2 guys side by side are teammates. That's Dan Weldon back there, not far behind.
Weldon back in the 10th position right now. There are 10 drivers on the lead lap. Actually 11 drivers in the lead lap. We're showing Barron in 11th position. The first driver a lap off the pace would be Carpenter in number 52. Then Jeff Simmons in the number 20.
Looks like
Downs and Bell.
Downs and Bell heading back for the.
Well, he had some problems earlier.
That's when he went back into the infield and got things going. But he says everything's going good now. But he is down as we watch Jeff Simmons.
12 laps back.
Jeff Simmons, who Al Jr. is spotting for and helping get through this first race. And quite honestly, having a pretty good run. He's a lap down, but he's been very consistent. He's been very clean. He hasn't caused any problems. As we got kind of a.
Well, keep in mind that Al was 21st out of 22nd cars last week at Richmond.
Right. So Jeff Simmons having a good run here in his opening
teammates having a good run up here. This is the battle for 5th position. Herta in 7, Franchitti in 27. Now Michael Andrew does not like to watch this.
No, he certainly doesn't. Meanwhile, the leader just keeps on trucking. He's got several car lengths now over Kanaan.
Yeah, but keep in mind, still the fastest driver on the racetrack is Mira. He's chopped that lead to 2.8 seconds.
Well, Franchitti and Herta, very equal race cars as Franchitti gets a run on him, gets to the outside of him. Meanwhile, right behind him, Castroneves is all of a sudden kind of giving him a run.
Yeah, look at Masura on the high side of Castroneves. They're stacked up side by side, bumper to bumper, nose to tail on lap 145. 55 laps to go. On board inside the helmet of Dario Franchitti.
You can see what it looks like from his perspective and all the gauges and lights on the steering wheel that he's got to keep track of it. Look at Matsura. He got around Castroneves that time around. He just kind of took off. Carpenter hanging right in there with that group. He's running as fast as they are, but he got a lap down.
So Rice now has a 1 second lead over Kanaan and an almost 3 second lead over Mira back in 3rd. The real battle is between Kanaan and Mira for 2nd position. Fernandez is 3rd, then Herta and Franchitti right along with Dixon right now, who's 2 laps off the pace back in 16th position. And look at this. Here's the battle for 2nd position.
As Vital Mira just moved up, he wasted absolutely no time. He and Buddy Rice are both running about a mile an hour faster than anybody else on the racetrack. I mean, they are just absolutely smoking right now. And when he caught Kanaan, he just moved to the outside, went on around him, didn't even think twice about it. Now everybody has to make one more pit stop, and they will be able to make it to the end, no matter whether there's any yellows or not. So I think they're right now trying to strategize. Some of them are going to stay out there hoping for a yellow, try to stay out as long as they can, but you don't want to make a mistake like Schechter made and stay out too long and run out of fuel.
Well, there is your leader. Rice enjoying a 2.6 second lead over his teammate in the Ray Hall Letterman team. There he is coming off the corner down now. We got one lap car. That's the number 20 of Jeff Simmons. Of the lap car between second and third.
Yeah, the next pit stop, we'll know how things are going after the next pit stop when they get back up to speed. It seems that Vito Mira, the longer they run on the racetrack, the faster he's going. He's running about a half a mile an hour faster than Buddy Rice right now. And Buddy Rice is running almost 2 miles an hour faster than the third place car Kanaan. So those two guys just absolutely blowing everybody away. So we know that they're all got the same engine, so got to be the handling of the race cars, drivers, got to be something else going on there, because it's not all Hondas, or they wouldn't be running 2 mile an hour faster.
You think there might be team orders if Vito gets right up behind Buddy?
I don't know. I would think not, but we'll see.
They're going to bring Mira in before they bring Buddy, and I don't think they'll bring both the Ray Hall Letterman cars in the same lap, and we anticipate Mira the next circuit. So they will stagger their pit stops.
Yeah, and that makes good sense. You want to be able to get out of the pit area. You don't want your teammate, just like the last time when Mira killed the engine, if he'd been sitting there in front of Buddy Rice wouldn't have been able to exit the pits near as quickly. So you know, it makes good sense to stagger those pit stops so you don't have to do them both at the same time.
And right now Mira is 2.3 seconds back in second position. Another half second back to Kanaan. Fernandez is fourth. Then Herta, Franchitti, Mitsura, Castroneves, Hornish.
Here he comes.
Carpenter, and there comes Mira on lap 158.
Now this time, if he makes another mistake, it'll cost him the race. He cannot afford at this point to make another mistake and kill that engine.
Well, they also can't afford to make this pit stop then have the yellow come out.
No. Well, kept the engine going, got out of there very quickly. Now you can see Buddy Rice. That's him right there on the end. He's getting ready to come in next.
That's Franchitti. So the final round of scheduled pit stops here on lap 159. And here comes Herta.
All these guys, final pit stops under green. It's amazing they made every pit stop under green. And we've seen maybe 3 or 4 mistakes. But considering that most of the time, I'd say 70% of their pit stops are made under yellow conditions. They make a lot of pit stops under yellow. Ooh, Herta came back out, was getting ready to leave just as Rice was coming in.
And check the pit time. Quick stop, good stop, wow. 8.1, good stop. And he's right there at the end where he can really put his foot in it and get back up to speed.
Well, that was a very good pit stop. We'll see when they all get everything going back out on the racetrack. But here comes Fernandez.
With the shuffling of stops, Castroneves becomes the 5th different leader. I'm going to show you a replay of Buddy Rice when he came in the pits. He almost spun this thing. Now, this is the replay. Coming a little hot right here. Oh, hang on.
Oh, man, he was trying to get her woed. You're only allowed 60 miles an hour when you get to that line. You get that cone. If you don't get it stopped, you get a stop and go penalty. He did not want that, so he was hard on the brakes, downshifting, trying to get that thing woed, and almost spun it in the process.
Well, the 2 Toyotas are up in front right now. Castroneves and Hornish, they have yet to make that pit stop. They stay out. Then when they cycle through, Rice will retain the lead over Mira.
And here is Castroneves in the pits right now. There's
he pulled in at an odd angle there. Not a whole lot of room on that left front.
Yeah, he probably didn't. There's probably a car parked back there when he pulled in. Couldn't get in very straight, but still looked like they get in and out pretty well.
Well, Hornish and Castroneves for Team Penske making the final pit stop. That will give Rice the lead. Mira rides in second, but Mira now is about 2.2 seconds back. And that's exactly the gap between first and second before they made the pit stop.
Yeah.
And there's Townsend Bell, who has had a long afternoon. He's like 11 laps off the pace, back in the 19th position, now in lap 163. Get around.
Now he gets a little bit of a run down one straightaway. He gets that little pull, a little draft if he pulls right in behind him down the straightaway, and he sucks up right behind him, and then as he pulls out, that air catches him again. Again, it's kind of like following a big truck down the road at 60 miles an hour. If you're right close to him and don't notice it, but when you pull right out into the wind, that headwind really slows you down. It pretty much affects these cars the same way.
Last lap again, Vito Mira was the fastest on the racetrack. He's back in second. So as you watch this battle, there is your leader, Buddy Rice, as he completes lap 169. The lead now is under 2 seconds, 1.9. Mira is second, then Kanaan, Fernandez, Franchitti, Herta, Castroneves. Those are the drivers on the lead lap. In 8th position, a lap down, is Hornish. Weldon is 9th, a lap down. Barron is 10th. Simmons is 11th, 2 laps down. Matsura is 12th, 2 laps down. And Manning is now 13th, 2 laps down.
Yeah, so those guys all trying to gain or maintain, but I think right now the only thing that Buddy Rice is trying to do is just run that thing for everything it's worth, because his teammate is slowly cutting into his lead. He cuts in about 1/10 of a second a lap. Well, at that rate, he's got enough time to catch him before, with 29 laps to go, he will catch him before the end of the race. And there he goes back around Dan Weldon again. So you can see right now, it's not very far behind. 1.5 seconds back is not very far on the racetrack.
And right now, here's a statistic for you, Larry. We are 171 laps into this race, and Vito Mira is running faster than he qualified yesterday.
Yeah, he still maintains a terrifically high speed. He's running very quick and very smoothly out there on the racetrack.
With some action back in the pack. That's the Simmons red number 20. Almost contact right there with Matsura. Look at this. Look at that. It was contact there. This was a lap before from Darren Manning's on board.
Well, that young man,
that got the rookie's attention.
Yeah, we said he was a rookie and might have a lot to learn here. Well, he's got to learn you can't pull out on the straightaway into a guy that's running on the outside of you like that. Either that or Little Al's not being a very good spotter right now.
Oh, man.
Fernandez is
stacked up too wide at lap 174.
Now remember, Fernandez, Franchitti, and Herta, the last 3 cars in that group, are racing for position. Those other cars are all lap cars. They're lap down, and they're also racing for position, but they are not racing Fernandez for position. Oh, look at this.
3 wide, 3 wide. The rookie in the middle. And there's the contact. You saw it occur. You saw it occur as they went 3 wide, and the rookie got together with Matsura. Our second yellow of the afternoon at lap 176.
There's no way that was going to work. Those 2 guys kept racing each other. Last couple. Simmons went up. There's just no way. There was not enough room. Simmons was touched on both sides. He really didn't do anything wrong because
Fernandez pushed the issue.
Well, Fernandez is. That's Manning. Those 3 guys are racing for each other. Manning is the one,
Manning stuck his nose down in there.
I was going to say, we talked about Matsura getting his hand slapped, but I'm going to tell you, Manning should have gotten his hand slapped a few times too, because he's been in just as many crashes. Now, he didn't get in that
from the pole at Indianapolis in that rain-shortened event back in May. They scramble for position across the line, and here comes Mira to the high side.
Hornish just pulled over and let Kanaan go. It was a good gesture on his part. Buddy Rice is not going to give it up that easy, though. He says, teammate or not, I still want to win this thing.
Now, like you heard Bobby Rahal say, he's in the points chase.
And look at Weldon. He's moved up. Kanaan, he's moved up out of the way, too, to let Kanaan go by him. So both great gestures on the part of Weldon and Hornish to let Kanaan get up there. And meanwhile, Hornish says, thank you, I'll take that spot, too.
Lap 188. The Rahal Letterman teammates running 1 and 2 right now. Rice and Vito Mira. Rice, of course, won at Indianapolis.
Well, the real question in my mind is, how good is Mira in this short a time. At the end of a run, after about 20 laps or so, he seems to be much faster than anybody else. But the first part of when the yellow comes out or after a pit stop, he seems to be about the same speed. So the longer he goes, the faster he gets. Will 15 laps be enough for him to build speed and get around his teammates?
Here comes Kanaan. Kanaan has moved up in third position. Now he takes the high side. Here he comes. Tries it again.
Well,
has the nose out by a few inches, but that's a long way around.
This is the kind of racing you come to expect. He has been fast all race.
Kanaan's advantage if they're racing side by side.
Oh yeah, he's not going to go around him, but oh boy, they're getting close.
Nick Rahal maybe sprouting some gray hairs down there in the pit area.
Oh, I'm sprouting gray hairs, and I don't own either one of those things. Wow. Side by
As the
side.
laps wind down, Kanaan has a great view of this battle up in front. They're at lap 190 now, just over 9 laps to go.
Well, Mira appears to get a bit of an advantage going into the corner. Rice gets a bit of an advantage coming off the corner. Now Mira pulls back up the side of him. Now as they head into number 1, Mira will probably pull up with just a little bit. Nope, not that time.
Kanaan right there in the third position, watching the battle side by side right in front of him. Fourth is Franchitti, fifth is Herta, and Fernandez is now sixth.
Wow, they were very close coming off of that corner. Look at Kanaan though. He's looks to be faster than either one of them. Doesn't know who to help out here.
Not sure where to go. And was this
I think that's Hornish on the outside. He's a lap down. Well, we've seen him do that move a lot on the outside, passing guys late in the race.
And Weldon's a lap off the pace.
Yeah, the first 3 cars in your picture are the only ones in that group that have a chance to win this race right at this point. Those 3 guys racing for position. Dan Weldon and Hornish are racing for position, but they're a lap back.
Once Vito Mira put himself out there, he has to stay out there at this point. He can't duck back behind him because there's Kanaan right behind his teammate. He's stuck out there right now.
He's got to stay out there, hope that something happens. His teammate has to lift just a little bit. If not, we've seen Sam Hornish do this time after time after time, try to time that run to the finish line. And if they stay side by side like this, whether he can time it right or not, well, that's going to make all the difference in the world.
Working on lap 195. We'll have 5 laps to go. The next time by the start-finish line.
Those guys sit so close coming off of turn number 4. Everywhere else on the racetrack, it looks like they give each other quite a bit of room. But coming, look at Kanaan.
Look at Kanaan. He started to go high, then ducked back low. I tell you what, you're not going to outbrake these guys.
Wow. Side by side, yeah, Kanaan. It looks like he falls back. He gets this big run on him, but once he gets up there, he's got no place to go. They're running down near the inside of the racetrack, so he can't go under him. And of course, you can't go on the outside. You can't make it 3 wide.
Well, could we be setting up for the closest finish in the history?
I don't know. We've had some close ones. We've seen a lot of
usually
finishes.
at Texas.
Yeah, exactly. Usually not at this racetrack, but right now, look at Mira. He tries to stay on the bottom side. He pulls down, going down the straightaway, trying to get a little of that side draft.
3 laps to go. He had the advantage by a nose right there. Maybe that's what he's counting on.
Well, Sam Hornish made a living doing that for a couple of years, using that little draft thing right at the end. Now, that time he lost some ground. That's the first time we've seen him fall that far behind. So whatever happened wasn't good that time around.
We're on board with Dixon. Dixon well off the pace. They had a good race for Scott. He's back in 12th position, the defending Indy Racing League champion.
You know, he might have been trying something, because that time he was way back going into the corner. When he came off, he almost beat him to the line. So maybe he's just trying to figure out how to time it in order to beat him to the white line. The only place on the racetrack that matters is that white line in the middle of the front straightaway. So if he can beat him there, that's where he has to do.
White flag coming out this time. Franchitti's back in 4th.
Now, that time it looked almost like a dead heat.
All right, here it is. Final time around.
Oh, this time he falls back a little bit. We'll see if that's on purpose or if that's...
Got to run on him down the backstretch.
Got to run that time.
He's going to win it. He's on the high side. Vito Mira up high. Buddy Rice down low. Here they come. Who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? Who won it? Who won it? It was a photo finish.
Well, the timing and scoring is say that
Rice
beats him. Unbelievable.
Rice got him by mere inches. And I think let's see if there's a wave.
I couldn't tell.
Thumbs up, but Buddy Rice wins for the 3rd time this season. This has become customary now.
For the team, I'm so proud of the team, and for Centrix, our sponsors, I mean, couldn't be any better.
As close as they got on the last 10 laps, that had to make you just a little bit nervous.
Well,
We're going to hold the bottom and hold it the whole time, so that's where we need to be.
Bobby Rahal said there were no team orders. Whoever wins, wins. He said, I just don't want these guys to take each other out. I know you had a lot of confidence knowing Vitor was going to give you plenty of room.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you could run against Vitor. We had before last year.
Fantastic finish there in Kansas. And that is just about it for today. Our congratulations to the Rahal team. And as ever, some great wheel-to-wheel racing from the Indy Racing League. This is now the toughest part of the season. There are races almost every weekend, and we will be back in a fortnight's time for round 8 of the series. It's the Firestone Indy 200 from Nashville, Tennessee, and they will be racing under lights. They'll be lining up Saturday evening US time, midnight here in the UK on Sky Sports 2. Dario Franchitti, by the way, 4th today, and Dan Weldon, was 9th. My thanks to our guests today, Christopher Tate and Paul Cherry. Fantastic job with your insider knowledge. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We will leave you this evening with some of the best moments from a wonderful Argent Mortgage 300. A very good evening to you.